I'm Rod Anderson from Smilo Sandbox, and we're speaking with Pino today. Pino, take us through what your business is, who you are, and what your business looked like heading into the back end of 2019 and the early parts of 2020.
Thanks, Rod. I appreciate it. Thanks very much for the opportunity. Yeah, my name's Pino Mancuso, and I'm the Vice President of Operations here at Highstreet. At Highstreet here, we develop, build, sell, and operate apartment buildings. And obviously my core focus is on the operating. That's truly where my passion kind of lies. You know, coming into 2000 or coming out of 2019, there was a ton of really great things happening for us. We had just taken on our last building in Aberdeen View in Kamloops. It was leasing up better than expected. So we were, you know, it was all cylinders there. We were making some real fundamental business changes in our northern BC property to kind of get that running better. Overall, occupancy was great across all of our apartment buildings. You know, we were really feeling like we were setting ourselves up to have a really great 2020. We were starting to look at our strategy sessions and getting ready for what 2020 was going to look like. And for all intents and purposes, you know, January and February were really great, you know, until COVID hit.
Tell us, Pino, you get into that March-April period and we're into crisis. What did that look like from your lens, and how did that impact your world? Tell us a bit about that.
You know, I think if I look back on it, it came out of no place. And we really weren't ready for, you know, the severity of what COVID was bringing to us. And so, you know, in a matter of a couple of hours, we kind of realized, okay, it's really crisis mode and we need to do something. And really that my very first thought was, we kind of need to make sure that the people that I have working in operations were going to be taken care of. And what I mean by that is, you know, amongst governments saying, you know, please stay home, please stay home. And also, you know, some statements around people can't get evicted during this time. You know, there was a lot of downward pressure, and trying to even get your own people to want to come in during that period when all they're seeing is everybody around them staying home. But in our business, we don't really have that option. But we really needed to reinvent the way we were doing it to make sure that our people were going to be taken care of. So primarily the focus in that first 12 hours was we really needed to dig in, and we really needed to find a way to make sure that my people felt like, you know, yes, this is an environment which I can come in and still do the job that I can. So a lot of focus was spent on how do we redefine leasing, where there's no more face-to-face action. How do we make sure that we're abiding by the cleaning requirements that were needed at that particular time? How do we relook at moving in and moving somebody out of a suite? And what maintenance were we going to say, yes, we're going to do, and no, we're not going to do, you know, in that first initial spot. And we really did it in a matter of 12 hours. We had processes in place. And the first couple of weeks were really spent heavily connecting with my people to ensure that they felt like they were in a place to succeed. Because at the end of the day, running apartment buildings, we really don't have the luxury to just stay home.
So when you get into that and you're trying to, you know, encourage people to show up, what was kind of your biggest concern as you were going through that kind of March period there, just from an operational standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, if there was, you know, a bit of kind of three concerns. One is are your people going to be able to hold up to the pressure that's around them and still come in to do their job? The second one is to the community members. You know, I was thinking to myself, putting yourself in their shoes, realizing that now I'm staying home and I may not be making any money. And then, you know, from my perspective, it's, well, what does that do to the business? So it was really about people, it was about our community members, and then it was really about the business. It was that, you know, that trifecta of things that was weighing on me in terms of what we were going to be able to do. And so we really needed to act kind of quickly around trying to nail those top three things.
Excellent. From your desk, Pino, what is it? Do you think that we're kind of coming through the other side of this right now? What does that look like to you? And how do you feel you guys are better at servicing your customers now?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a couple of things. I often refer to the fact that COVID now is almost talking about politics or religion. There's two sets of camps around people who think that we are that we're probably through this and we should probably just get everything back to some type of new normal. And then there's still the people that are inside the house saying, I'm not coming out, I'm not going to do anything. And so, but I do believe that overall, as a society, if you take a look at the numbers, if you take a look at the total amount of people affected, we're in a good position to start coming out of the other end of that. But I think we're coming out the other end a lot better than what we went into it, at least from my business. I think what this really taught me was that we can do business differently, and we can actually offer a different level of service to our community members than what we used to do in the past. And so, for example, it was a lot of face-to-face. We always wanted to see the customers. We always wanted I mean, our core thing is around building community connections so people love where they live. And that's kind of what we really focus on. But knowing that we can do that differently, and that, technology really allowed us to kind of spread our wings and look at our business and really deliver something different.
That's great. Tell me, Pino, what would you like the organization to be remembered for after this crisis is done?
That's an interesting one. I mean, I think from my people's perspective, I want them to feel that they're way more connected to the organization than they were before. I would hope that our people will look back at this and kind of say, Highstreet really took the right steps to make sure I was feeling good about coming to work, and that I was doing it in a safe way. We went out with a couple of offers right away to our community members. We wanted them to know that we understood where they were sitting and that we didn't want them to feel alone. We were doing whatever we could to make sure that we were going to walk through this hand in hand with them. So, I want it'd be great if community members could look back on this experience and say, I feel extra connected to where I live, and I love everything that they did. And it comes down to the three things again that we talked about, Rod, was, my belief is that if you take care of your people are going to take care of the customers, and hopefully in the end your business gets taken care of. And so at the end, it's a bit of a flow, and I think if you're doing it in that order, your business will be okay.
Wonderful, Pino. Thank you very much for sharing the Highstreet story with us, and specifically into the operations area. You're doing a wonderful job there, and I'll let you get back to your day.
Rod, thank you very much, and thanks to Sandbox for the opportunity.